pressure.
Come on with it.
Rise and shine. It's your time. Now's the time to shine. Uplift, educate, motivate. Let's talk about life and faith, ministry, and so much more. Rise and shine with Lacey.
It's the Rise and Shine Talk Show with Lady C, where we uplift, educate, and motivate. Let's talk about life and faith, ministry, and so much more. Conversations from a pastor's wife perspective. I am Lady C, your host. Family, be sure to visit ChariceCrump.com for all things Rise and Shine.
Rise and shine.
Family, I'm in the studio today. We have none other than Dr. Gerald Jackson.
Man, thank you.
Yes, so Dr. Jackson earned his bachelor's degree in psychology from the Ohio State University and went on to complete his master's degree in public administration from Central Michigan University. And then he earned his doctorate degree in pharmacy from the University of Findlay in 2011 and became an Ohio State board certified and registered pharmacist in that same year.
Yes.
Welcome, Dr. Jackson. Welcome.
All right, awesome. Welcome. Thank you for having me. What a great opportunity. It's a little windy outside, but man, it's about to get interesting in here. This is where all the fun and energy is today.
Absolutely. My husband, Bishop Crump, and I had the pleasure of meeting you at our Without Walls community outreach. And thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to stop by for an important conversation. So, Dr. Jackson, we want to start off just with a little bit. Dr. Jackson, what is your story that led you to becoming the people's pharmacist?
Wow, what a great question. I mean, we could dissect this into about 2 or 3 segments. But anyway, I'll give you the short version. There's more of a heartfelt version, actually. I'm from Southern Ohio. Born in Chillicothe or Adena Hospital. So I'm a Southern boy, kind of out of Appalachia. Grew up in a trailer, kind of a poverty mindset.
Mm-hmm.
My dad and mom both worked at Martin Marietta, which is a nuclear power plant. My dad was kind of the real life Homer Simpson.
Wow.
He looked at temperature gauges for uranium for many, many years. He's now retired. But then, we kind of grew up, and I went to Columbus with my mom.
Okay.
My mom and dad separated. So we kind of had that level of an experience in growing up. But, it still today has made me a better man because both my mom and dad made sure that we weren't a part of any type of traumatic experience that was very, very important to my upbringing, that they made sure that we were protected emotionally.
Yeah.
So I say that to say, as if anyone out there in that type of situation, make sure you protect the kids. So with that said, born in Chillicothe, lived in Columbus, Ohio most of my life, but really I call myself a country boy with a 2000 twist, because I like the country. I love the woods. I like nature. I like just kind of the city as well. I like all people. Just put it that way. I've been around people who don't have a lot of money, people in the middle class, people who are rich. I love everybody. Everyone has an energy, and I seem to enjoy just picking up on what that energy is.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, I was able to go to the Ohio State University. My mom passed away when I was 18, so that really motivated me to do a lot of things. That traumatic experience, I turned that into my joy. And just not lived in an experience that was traumatic, but turned it into something that's really propelled me to where I am today.
That's awesome.
So with that said, I graduated from the Ohio State University with that bachelor's degree, and I took care of my sister at that time because, again, we lost our mother. So my grandmother and I helped raise her. So, again, kind of became a surrogate dad and brother all at the same time. But really, that all molded me into the man that I am. And then once she graduated from high school, I said, Gerald, what do you really want to do with your life? I got that bachelor's degree that had opened up some doorways working for the state of Ohio. But I always wanted to help people as a healthcare professional. And I actually at one point wanted to run for mayor of this city.
Really? Oh
yes,
my
I did.
gosh,
Mayor Coleman, he just held that position down. Oh, man. He did. My friends actually saved me in their phone for many years as the mayor because I wanted to be the mayor.
Wow.
But then as I got a master's degree in public administration, that's kind of why I chose public administration, because I wanted to work in the public sector and government. But then I got the opportunity to go to pharmacy school by meeting my dean, Dr. Donald Stanislawski. He seen something in me, and he said, Gerald, I'd really like for you to consider coming to pharmacy school here at the University of Findlay. And that's how that story happened. He really just said, and I was just really on a meeting to talk with him about pharmacy school. He said, right now we want you in this program. 6 years later after that, 6 6 years, guys.
Wow.
But I dropped everything that I was doing, and I went to the University of Findlay, lived there for 5 years, spent my last year here just doing my rotations, and here I am now 13 years later.
Look at God.
Being a licensed pharmacist, using that as a platform. I just want to give back all the education and understanding that I have. I just consider myself a light. I want to be that light every day.
Oh my goodness. And Dr. Jackson, you are that light.
Thank you.
And I was just thinking about how you were sharing about how you were a father figure, to your sister.
Yeah.
But I hope you realize that you are a father figure to the many people, that we look to you as an example. So thank you, for your example, your leadership, and what you're doing right here in our community. Wow.
No, thank you.
Yes. So Dr. Jackson, okay. So the accessibility of pharmacies may be an overlooked contributor to persistent racial and ethnic disparities, in the use of prescription medications and essential healthcare services within urban areas in the U.S. So can you talk a little bit about the racial and economic disparities regarding access, to medication?
Absolutely. Great question, by the way. So to start with that question, we first just acknowledge there are the inequities, right? A lot of people want to just think that it just doesn't exist, and it does. And as far as our communities are concerned, a lot of that comes from just the fear of going to see a doctor.
Wow.
And there is where you're going to potentially get a prescription for medication. So we've had to overcome that fear of seeing that white coat and just being seen. Many children nowadays aren't even getting wellness visits as a result of just the pandemic. We're starting to see more children being seen by the doctor. So right now we need to make sure our children just get a checkup, right? Just see how well their body is doing. I know we don't know necessarily like a needle, but we need to draw your blood just to see how you're doing, right? Let's get a snapshot. But at the end of the day, our parents are the leaders, and our grandparents are also leaders in kind of helping us understand why it's important to even be seen by a provider. And we just don't have enough African-American providers out there. Ooh. We're starting to see more CNPs than we are seeing doctors. So the numbers are starting to change in our favor, but a lot of reasons that we don't see a doctor is because they don't look like you and I. And there's just that level of fear, and there's not a level of comfort that we want to share with that person about what we may experience in terms of pain, in terms of our blood pressure, because then we're going to have tough conversations about our diet, right? Maybe potential. We know we have diabetes, but we don't want to be seen. I just had a mom come to me where her son died because he had too much Kool-Aid. He drank a whole pitcher of Kool-Aid, and his sugar was off the chart. Didn't even know he was diabetic. Went to the hospital, and he died from something as simple as Kool-Aid. So I know that this isn't a feel-good story, but this is reality in the home. So there's a lot of things in terms of behavior we need to change in our community. That's why I'm out every day, and every conversation I have is important.
You know what, Dr. Jackson? You are right. We got to change the behaviors. I know sometimes I see on social media, I'm seeing all the shrimp boils and all the macaroni. And it's, to me, it's almost kind of like it's glorified. And it's just like, I'm thinking like, oh my God, this would shoot my cholesterol.
100%. Look, when I got married, at my meal, this even when I was a pharmacist, I wanted fried chicken, I wanted baked beans, potato salad, sweet potatoes, and a roll. That was my meal at my wedding because I just enjoy that meal. But I've learned that, as a 48, soon to be 49-year-old man, my birthday's April 6th, but that my body just isn't going to be as healthy and as in balance that it can be, and then that potentially could lead to the usage of medication. So when I talk to patients or I go out and talk to communities, I try to reduce the level of fear about medication, but I most importantly say that healing comes from the inside out, not the outside in.
That's good. Oh my goodness. Dr. Jackson, some of us, now I'm talking to the saints, y'all hear me. I'm talking to the church world. Sometimes, we just go to church and, we going to pray, but we ain't going to the doctor. We not taking medication, or we are self-medicating. Can you talk about the dangers of self-medicating? And everywhere I turn around, everybody got a marijuana card. I ain't going to talk about that. But what are the dangers of self-medicating?
Well, number one, you're just trying to diagnose a problem on your own, right? And everyone is Google certified and whatever ailment that they have, right?
So I'm Google certified.
That's part of the inequity here, right? Because we have access to so much information, but we both know that we're drowning in information, but we just don't have the wisdom, right, to kind of apply that information. So yes, the self-medicating could be extremely extremely harmful because number one, you don't necessarily know if you're harming yourself or delaying treatment that is needed that potentially could really get your body back in balance by talking to a healthcare professional. The analogy is always there. If you're going to get on a flight, you yourself aren't going to fly that airplane. You want someone that's flying that airplane for you. So we got to overcome that we are overly educated or intellectualize everything and have some level of, I guess, trust in that provider. And I think that's the issue right now. No one trusts anyone, and I think sometimes we're around people that are educated and we almost think that proximity equals intimacy, right? That person understands us very well just because they're around us, and maybe there's some sort of love there, but really you need to see a healthcare professional. Don't see just your friend that's now doing better than you and then that become the new model of healthcare for you, and not only you but your children.
Oh my goodness. I'm still stuck on that. We aren't even taking our babies for wellness checks.
Absolutely.
And I want to say this. I know sometimes we got to do what we got to do, but the emergency room is not our primary care. No. Go ahead, Dr. Jackson, school us.
No, the emergency room should be just for emergencies, number one. But if you have, again, it's the relationship, it's the trust. If you could just get established with one nurse practitioner or one doctor that you're comfortable with, you'd be amazed at the level of trust that you begin to have and establish a rapport and be able to open up with how you're really feeling. Because a lot of times I think folks just come in and they tell us what they want us to hear about their health. And then we get the blood work back and say, whoa, man, your cholesterol is extremely high. You're at 250, 300. Your triglycerides are at 200 and 300, potentially causing a heart attack in the next 6 months if these numbers don't change. I know we don't like to talk about numbers, but sometimes those numbers are extremely important and they're facts, right? So when we have real data, we have real measurements, not that your word doesn't matter, but now we have something more definitive in our toolbox to be able to make clinical decisions. But we can't get that clinical decision if you don't come in.
Oh my goodness. I have been reading about the increase of colorectal cancer in people as young, as their 40s, and that younger people are now getting geriatric diseases, things that would happen perhaps in the 70s or 80s. Some of these diseases are showing up in young people as young as 30 and 40 and 50, so getting those wellness checks.
Prevention care. That's where it all starts. That's why it starts early on as a child, when you know that it's important to go get seen. I feel good, I don't need to go. Well, by the time, a lot of folks compensate. I use that word compensate all the time. So you're 15, 20 years old, and then all of a sudden at 40, you're going downhill. Your A1C for blood sugar is at a 10 or 11, and next thing you know, you're needing an insulin pen or you need to go on diabetic medication because you've compensated for all these years with just eating whatever you wanted. But by the time you get to the doctor or the nurse practitioner and explain those symptoms, and then we get results back, you're diabetic. If you're trending in the wrong direction, and we all know what diabetes leads to. We see the worst cases a lot of times in our community, right? We don't just see the beginning stages of it. A lot of times when we see it, it's at the worst stage it could possibly be, potentially needing dialysis because your kidneys are beginning to fail. Your blood pressure is so high that you're having constant headaches, right? You're having a lot of inflammation as a result of just the lack of ability of the blood to just be flowing to areas of the body and extremities that need that critical blood to function normally, right? We have 50 trillion cells in our body, right? They all are led by our mind, right? So we've got to make sure that mindset changes to be able to lead that 50 trillion in the right direction.
When you were talking about that 50, okay, so I read something that you had said about how the cells and community and the perception of stress, how that affects the body.
Oh my goodness. Well, human beings have one of the largest, what they call prefrontal cortexes of the entire animal kingdom, right? The next most emotional being on this planet is a dolphin, right? That just tells you how emotional dolphins are. But if we stay in a kind of a past present way of thinking, we can cause just stress hormones to be released daily just by thinking about things. That's why you can be at Disney World, and because your prefrontal cortex is so strong, you can think about a traumatic event in Disney World and begin to have an emotional breakdown, right? If you think a lion is chasing you, your body will react like a lion is chasing you, right? So you have to understand your thoughts are extremely powerful, not just because you've heard something about meditation on YouTube. Your thoughts are really just that powerful.
Wow. Ooh, Lord. DJ Mike, there is a doctor in the house on today. That is
But just like those thoughts
powerful.
can harm you, you can have
Yes.
good thoughts that'll heal you. That's called
Yes.
neuroplasticity. You can replace those same
Yes.
experiences with more meaningful experiences, more positive experiences. And then next thing you know, you're living a life that you didn't even know you could live.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is
We are all
powerful.
beings of light, right?
Yes, powerful. So, Dr. Jackson, I gotta talk about this. So I see 1,050,011 medication commercials every night on the news. Dr. Jackson, they got even jingles, and I'll be singing some of. I could sing a couple of the jingles right now.
I think everybody's heard of Ozempic and Mounjaro by now, right? Right.
So we are now going to the doctors, telling the doctors what to request. What in the world has happened? Are we over medicated? What's going on?
Well, the healthcare industry is losing control. And we're doing that because there are third parties out there, meaning the insurance companies. There are pharmacy benefit managers that are out there inflating the cost of medication. And really, we're losing a lot of faith in healthcare as a whole. And it's up to people like me and a lot of my other colleagues to try to restore that faith. So when you can go into the doctor and say, look, I'm not even a diabetic, but I want Ozempic, right? And doctors will prescribe it because it has been, don't get me wrong, it has been effective in improving weight loss. Number one, it suppresses appetite. Two, it slows down digestion so you feel fuller longer, right? So it's not a bad drug. But if you're not a diabetic, you better make sure you understand what your blood sugar is because it potentially, for a healthy person, can drop your blood sugar to a very unhealthy level. And all of a sudden, sure, you've lost weight, but you're fatigued and can't function normally in your normal day-to-day activity.
So you mean to tell me that reading is fundamental? So we need to start reading the side effects. Just because somebody else is taking it, it's working for them, doesn't mean it's going to work for me.
100%. And you need to talk to your pharmacist or your doctor. Now, doctors, they're struggling. A lot of their Medicare reimbursements is being cut. Medicaid's not reimbursing in the same way. So you go to your family practitioner and you want to be seen. Sometimes that line is blurred a little bit, whether it's going to be good for the patient versus great for the patient, potentially versus making a few dollars in a weight loss program, right? And it's okay to, as long as you are being monitored by your physician. But a lot of these folks, once they get their first prescription or second prescription, we don't see them again.
Wow.
And that we don't even know what the outcome is. And let's just be honest here. If we're just going to focus on diet or weight loss for a second, diet and exercise are equally as important as getting Ozempic.
Ooh.
Right.
Yes. And then the people who need the medication can't even get it.
And it's a supply and demand issue. Yes.
I have just never seen anything like this.
Me neither, actually. Look, I'm with you.
Wow.
Yes, it's hard. We are starting to see the supply meet the demand now. So, the good news is if a patient does need it, I can order it for you. But when you talk to Dr. Jackson, you're going to get a real consultation. When you meet with my nurse practitioner, you're going to get a real consultation. We're going to explain to you how the drug is going to work and what to expect if you experience the side effects, what they are.
Oh, that's good. That's good because side effects are real. I know one time I was looking at taking medication. I was like, well, I'm going to work on getting snatched. Dr. Jackson. Well, you know what? We're going to tell the truth and shame the devil.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I went to read and I said, oh my, it said like homicidal, suicidal, like major depression. I was like, oh, this is not going to work for me. I didn't throw it in the trash, but I was like, I will not. So we have to be advocates for ourselves and really understand what it is that we are putting in our body because
100%.
Some of this medication, it can mess you up. And especially if you have predispositions to other things, mental health, different things like that, you got to know what you're doing.
Well, predisposition starts with genetic variants. My liver and your liver are completely two different livers. So a lot of drugs that are metabolized by the liver are going to be metabolized differently for you and I.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So, Dr. Jackson, as you know, representation matters. For many, you are the first pharmacist of color that many may encounter. And it's so important to be able to connect and have a relationship with your local pharmacist regarding medication needs. Can you talk about just how important, we go to, some of the major chains and, we see the white coats, but they really don't. They don't know. Yeah. Okay, this is Sharice Crump coming in here to pick up her. Talk about the importance of, being able to have some type of connection with your pharmacist.
When you are going to take a medication orally, it is going to alter your biochemistry. So you need to have extreme trust in me. And in order to gain that trust from you, I better be relatable to who you are and what you are, no matter race, creed, gender, or anything else. So I take pride in making sure, especially if it's the first time you've taken that prescription, to come up to you and meet and greet you personally and say, hi, my name's Dr. Jackson. This is a medication you're getting for the first time. Do you have any questions? Even if they say no. And some do, because they're ready to go. I say, give me a second here, because I want to make sure you leave informed. You are getting ready to alter your biochemistry, not who you are, right? We're going to put something in your body to change you, hopefully to get you back in balance in a much better way. But you need to understand that. Don't just do it because I, as a white coat, gave it to you, or your doctor gave it to you. Make sure you ask the question. And even if you leave, please call me back if you didn't think of the question right there in the moment. Call me when you think of it.
Wow, that is awesome. This is a great segue. So tell us about Doctor's Pharmacy downtown and what can you offer? Talk to us, Dr. Jackson.
Look, when you come to Doctor's Pharmacy downtown, we do treat you like family. We're not just someone we're exchanging money for a prescription, or you're just picking up a prescription and we hope that you continue to come back every month for that prescription. If I don't see improvement in you, if I'm giving you a mood medication, then what am I doing? So that doesn't mean we got to have a conversation about your life story from month to month. But I am going to ask you, how do you think this medication is working for you? An open-ended question. And I will take the time to answer that question. You're not going to be rushed out of my pharmacy. You're not going to even look. Even if I look like I'm busy, I will take my whatever I'm doing and make sure that I take that moment to talk with you, because that's how important you are to me. Look, money comes and goes, but people do not. So I want to establish a relationship with you. When you come into my pharmacy, you're going to get someone that looks you in the eye and genuinely will provide a response that you can hopefully understand, and you can take away with you when you do take that blood pressure medication or that mood medication, that there's a reason for it. I don't want people to come in depressed, and you so depressed that you figure out a reason to overcome the medication that I'm giving, because people can do that. If you want to stay depressed, you will.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So, Dr. Jackson, where are you located? Where is your pharmacy located at?
Yeah, so great question. So everything was planned out. You know, we are at 270 South Grant. I actually used to be Dr. George Barnett's old office.
Okay.
So that's kind of where we are. We're right next to Donato's, and you see the McDonald's and the Donato's, and there's a building right next to us. That is us, right? We're at 270 South Grant. There's plenty of parking, so you don't have to worry about parking. That's a question I get all the time. And again, we're centrally located, so we offer delivery to you. A lot of my patients just lack accessibility. That's one of the things that we talked about a minute ago. How do we, figure out ways to get rid of these inequities? Just something as simple as transportation is difficult for folks in 2023. But anyway, we're going to get your medication out to you via delivery at no charge. Look, I work for a lot of the competitors. I won't name them by name, but we're going to do it for free. Just because, and look, it's not always about money. For whatever, when I do things for money, it's not fun. And running a pharmacy is not easy, but I do it because I enjoy it, and I feel like I am making an impact. That's what gets me motivated every single day.
Awesome. So what are your hours at the pharmacy?
9 to 6 Monday through Friday, and on Saturdays we're open 9 to 1. But I'm here today, so all those folks trying to get here today, I'm sorry, I'll be there shortly. But I promise, all the phone calls are forwarded to me. So even when I'm not there, every patient at my pharmacy gets my personal cell phone number.
Really?
Because if you have a doctor, you should have access to your doctor, right?
Oh, that's good.
When you have medication with me, you should have access to me in case you needed something, right?
That's awesome.
Maybe you're in the hospital. Maybe they need to get a hold of me. Maybe they need to do a reconciliation of what you're on. I'm available to you. And number one, when you talk with me as your pharmacist, again, the first thing you're going to hear is inside out. That's how healing occurs. Everything in this pharmacy, every drug on this shelf is an external aid to get you back in balance. And that's how we're going to approach you getting better.
That's awesome. Okay, so now I got to ask you this. Y'all take Medicaid? You know where I'm going.
Absolutely.
Medicaid, Medicare, private insurance.
Yes. So I credentialed the pharmacy when I opened it. So we are credentialed with everyone. There aren't too many plans, unless it's out of state, that we don't take. And you know what? Even if for whatever reason you didn't, I'm going to give you the best price that I can give you for whatever that medication may be.
Awesome. Okay. So let's just say I live in Licking County. I'm in Reynoldsburg, Pickerington, Canal, or all the way in Grove City, or right around the corner. Free delivery? Free delivery.
So we'll mail it. If you are kind of outside of 270, we may consider mailing. But there are some patients that I will travel just a little outside of Franklin County to get you your medication. But at that point, we may start talking about shipping the medication to you via FedEx.
Oh, my goodness. That is awesome. Family, you have to connect with Dr. Gerald Jackson, the people's pharmacist.
Absolutely.
I'm telling you. Oh my goodness. Dr. Jackson, can you talk about just a little bit, what are the challenges that you as a pharmacist are seeing in the Black community? Where are we struggling at with, understanding and medication? Where are you seeing those gaps? Where we just missing it?
Well, I think that access to medication is sometimes an issue. Again, I've paid for Ubers for people to come pick,
Wow.
if just to get seen to be able to get medication.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times it's just not being seen.
Not being seen.
A lot of folks come in after not being seen. And some providers, are aging, right? They're getting older, right? You don't really have your mom and pop practices as much as you used to anymore, right? So you got to go to this big, I don't want to name like how, just a bigger, larger place. And no, people don't want to take an elevator to get to their doctor. They just want to be able to walk in to something that they feel comfortable to. The moment they start going to these larger institutions, and there's some of these doctors just kind of rotate. You never see the same doctor. That becomes this uncomfortable feeling, and it kind of drives that level of distrust again. So I think we have to figure out a way to remove the veil of not trusting your provider. And it starts with people like me going out and talking to those meeting people where they're at. Now, CVS is actually implementing a plan where doctors are going to be going to homes more. And I think as a result of the pandemic, that's kind of where that idea was born. We're going to figure out a way to come to you. We just need to have that initial conversation and it be open once we get to you. I don't want you just to tell me what you think I want to hear, or your blood pressure is fine. No, if it's not fine, let's talk about it. Let's figure out a way. You should be able to live a long, healthy life. Whatever the life expectancy is, you should exceed that by 10 years if you got me in your life.
Come on now. Listen, family, y'all got to get in contact with Dr. Gerald Jackson. Listen, we're wrapping up, but I got to ask you.
Yeah.
What's going on in the school system? Representation matters.
Yes.
What are we doing with this generation, Dr. Jackson?
Well, that's a good question. And the tough part of this generation is they want everything explained to them. And what I mean by that is when you ask them to do something, they want to know why. And even if you give them one why, they want to know the next why and the next why and the next why. And our generation was just not raised to do that. So it becomes this disconnect between us and them sometimes. And we also have to understand that they are their own individual, right? They have exposure to a lot of information, right? Good, bad, you name it, right? We can debate what that is, but we need to meet them where they are.
That's good.
It can't just be Dr. Jackson's way, or it can't be your way. It can't even just be mom and dad's ironclad way. I would tell parents not to say that there can't be discipline involved, but put the sword down. Don't fight with them anymore. It's time to stop fighting. You got to be able to connect with them. He has one eye, will be filled with light, right? And that's where we got to go to them. We can't just do anything physical. Punishments are, all these things are important sometimes, but we got to meet them where they are.
Oh, that's good. Meet them.
And does that mean that you're giving them power? No, you just have to change the way the way you think about it. If you want them to succeed, or if not, then we're going to have more trauma, more incidents that we grow up and we create more division, and we continue to be in a cycle that harms our communities.
Dr. Jackson, tell the people again, where are you located? Doctor's Pharmacy downtown. Where are you located?
All right, guys. So if you're in the downtown area, and if you just want to stop in and have a conversation, look, we can fill prescriptions for you, but man, we want to just have a conversation with you. We're at 270 South Grant Avenue, about a block and a half away from Grant Medical Center. We just want to meet you. It's not about earning money off of you. You are going to be joining a family, someone that truly cares about how well you're doing. If you want to just come and talk, well, look, I don't give relationship advice, but anything else you want to talk about, I'm willing to talk with you about. We just may pray about the relationship,
Come on now.
but everything else, we're going to try to satisfy what you need in every way we can, and make you feel like you're not just a normal person coming in. You're someone that you bringing an energy into our pharmacy, in my pharmacy, and we're going to give that energy back.
That is awesome. Pastors, clergy, I do believe Dr. Jackson is available for speaking engagements. Listen, whatever you're having a health fair, get Dr. Jackson on the line. I'm telling you, because he's coming. He's going to give it to us straight, and that's exactly what we need, please connect with Dr. Gerald Jackson at Doctor's Pharmacy downtown. Dr. Jackson is here to help you on your health and wellness journey. Kind, compassionate, and professional staff. The Pharmacy Doctors Trust. Dr. Gerald Jackson.
Can I give you my phone number before I
Yes,
leave?
go right ahead.
Hey, and real quick, for anyone that just wants to give us a call, it's 614-706-2345. Again, that phone number is 614-706-2345. There's no time that we won't take your call. Even if it's late in the middle of the night, we'll figure out a way to get to you the next day.
Dr. Gerald Jackson.
Yes.
The people.
Always.
The people's
Always.
Pharmacist. Get in contact.
Yes.
Thank you so much
No,
for
thank you
joining
for
me
having me.
today. Oh my goodness. I'm your host, Lady C. Remember, with God, all things are possible. You have purpose, and it's time to rise and shine.